Hey guys, welcome back to One House Pub. Sorry I've been gone for a while, a few weeks here. I had some technical difficulties. I lost a laptop and had some technical battles there. It looks like I'm going to need a new motherboard for my Dell Inspiron and some new memory. Hopefully going to get that fixed up soon. That doesn't necessarily, I don't do my videos on the laptop, but it's just caused a general disruption in my technology. But anyway, I haven't stopped with my knives, of course, during this time. So I thought I would go ahead and give a quick update here and show you something new that I got. Picked up last week in the exchange on Blade Forums was this Spyderco Stretch carbon fiber. This is actually kind of a Grail Spydie for me. I've really wanted this knife for a long time, and finally, found one, a used one. It's definitely a user. It's got, as you can see, it's got some pocket wear, and it's definitely a user. But that's fine because I use my knives, so I have no problem buying a user. Anyway, it's just a great knife. I just love the feel of the carbon fiber. It's the laminate, with the G10 underneath, but that's, again, fine by me. I'm a big fan of G10 too, so if it was just a G10 stretch, that would have been just fine. The carbon fiber really feels pretty much like G10 as far as grip goes, but it just gives that really cool, I don't know if you can see it. Come on. Real cool carbon fiber. There you go. Carbon fiber, texture or kind of 3D look to it there. Great knife. I've just always really dug this knife, and I just love the shape of it. I love the shape of the of the handle and the way that this kicks up here, this here, and just the way that the blade has this kind of this double recurve on the spine, and really nice belly here. Some people, I read online that some people don't like the blade shape of the Stretch, and I think it's one of the coolest blade shapes Spyderco has, so I would have to disagree with them on that. Super thin, I think it's 0.0125 inch blade stock, and this thing is just a mean slicer. First of all, it's ZDP-189, so that certainly helps, but just this really thin blade stock. I was doing some cutting some tomatoes this past weekend for lunch, and man, this thing was just slicing them off in paper thin slices. And they were older tomatoes we needed to get rid of before they were going bad, so they weren't even like real crisp and nice and plump. They were kind of had that leathery kind of tomato skin that they'll get, and this thing still just took them off just in thin little wafer thin slices. Really a nice slicer, and I haven't even touched up this edge at all. I did strop it just to touch, when I got it, just to do it. I put it under my loop, my 20 times jeweler's loop, and I think it's still got the original factory edge on it. It does not look like it's ever been sharpened to me. It has a couple nicks in it, especially here towards, right here at the tip, kind of towards the belly, right here, and kind of in the main cutting area. But it's still it'll cut phone book paper. It just cuts like crazy still, so I'm not going to mess with it until it really needs it. That's just the nature of ZDP-189. I think it just has incredible edge retention. So I'm just going to let this one ride and see how long I can use it before I kind of deem that I need to touch it up. When I do, I'll probably kick the bevel back a little bit and reprofile it a touch and give it a really aggressive edge, and we'll see what it turns into then. It'll be fun. Just to show you kind of that blade stock, here's the width of it. Here's a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, so you can see in the Paramilitary 2 comes to that really nice tip, and the stretch is even finer. So this thing, this is not a prying tool by any stretch. No pun intended there. But it's, because the Para 2, while it's pretty good stock up here, it definitely comes down to a nice thin point, and this thing just starts off thinner and gets even thinner. And has a little bit more belly than the blade of the Para 2. You'll note that this actually is an older model of the Stretch. It's from 2007, and it's got the old style thumb ramp jimping. See that? As opposed to the newer ones, I believe, have kind of the classic jimping you see on this. Both work fine. They both give good grip. This one might give a little bit better overall grip, but this certainly is adequate. Again, I don't consider the Stretch a particular hard use knife. I consider this a cutter, pure and simple, and a classy one at that. I love the stainless backstrap on this. I know that doesn't make for the easiest to maintain knife, but man, I just love that look. It is just so rich and classy looking. Backlock, of course, maybe not my ultimate favorite lock, but I'm not a hater of them. I can use them just fine. I have several backlock knives and have had several backlock knives. They're not the ultimate most entertaining knife to use or lock to use, like a compression lock. You can have such a good time, with a compression lock, just messing with it, whipping it out. Oops. Bouncing it back and forth and doing that. You're not going to get that kind of raw entertainment out of a backlock. You're not going to push that, and it's not particularly entertaining in that regard, but it's extremely functional for sure. And for an EDC perspective, you pull it out, you cut, bop, put her back. Completely functional, and with this back strap, probably or not back strap, but the back spacer, with the nice stainless back spacer, probably your best all-around choice for a lock to maintain this look at least. But boy, wouldn't the ultimate stretch be a carbon fiber ZDP-189 stretch with a compression lock in it? Whew, that would be the ultimate Spyderco, perhaps. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I did want to mention one other thing too, and that is the steel itself, the ZDP-189. It does appear to have a little bit of they say this can stain pretty easily. And again, this is an older knife. It's 6 years old now, so it's a bit of and it was a bit of a user. And you can see little areas where, like you can see right in here, where it's just got a little bit of a steel discoloration. That's actually not a shadow. And I don't know if you can see right here too, right here along the just kind of right here. There's just like a little not haze. It's not a shadow either. It's just slight discoloration, and I'm guessing that's just from something getting on the knife and staining it at some point in its life. It's very subtle. Oh, it's still got a pretty nice shine on it though. The fit and finish on it, it's a little off, compared to what you'd see out of Spydercos nowadays, and maybe that's just from a few years ago. They just weren't as on top of their game. I don't know. It's tough to say. I wasn't really into Spydercos 7 years ago, but you can see here the back of the back spacer here is not cut straight, and it's actually, if you get in there close, you can see that it's actually notched a little funny right there, and it's not perfectly lined up. That could be this part here where you can see a little space in between the liner and the back spacer could just be age of the knife, but that angle was cut that way from the factory. You can see that that's just not completely straight. You would think that on at the time was a $250 knife, that they would be a little bit more particular about that stuff, but maybe not. I'm not complaining about it. Again, I got it for considerably less than what they went for new, and I'm going to use it, and to me it's just fine. I love it. I really dig this knife. It actually was the first knife that I put in my pocket in many months, other than a Hinder XM18 when I got it. So really enjoying this. Really dig it. And just as another spine example here, speaking of XM18s, here's a XM18 slicer. This is a .0165, I think, is what the XM18 goes for. So you can see quite a difference in blade stock width there. So anyway, just wanted to kind of show this off and give it its kudos. Great knife. Ergonomics are awesome. Love the handle to blade ratio. It's almost 8 to 1 or 0.79. Not 8 to 1, excuse me, almost 0.80. Actually, I think that when you get right down to it, if you round it up, it goes to 0.80, but it's really 0.79 and some change. And that is really good for a Spyderco. Like you look at a pair of two, it's like 0.71. 71% of the blade length equals the handle length. Even the new domino that's coming out, according to the specs you see online right now, is, if you do the math, is a 0.69, which is, that's really a lot of handle to and not a lot of blade. But this thing has just a ton of blade to handle ratio, and I really dig that. It's only a 4.5 inch handle with a 3.5 inch blade, and it packs it in there really well. Look at it right to the end. It doesn't waste any space. If I can get this, there we go. That thing is just, you hardly have anything left over there. You do that with a pair of two, same deal. And you see quite a bit of space that they've left here. You know, I mean, that blade ends there, and it goes clear out to here. You know, you probably have this much, you know, that much unused handle that, or you know, that they don't have blade stuffed into. Not the case here. Boy, you got that much maybe. I mean, it just uses it all. That's great. I mean, like I said, that gives you this great blade to handle ratio. Great knife, love it. Been searching for one of these for a long time. I'm glad to finally acquire it. Anyway, like I said, a bit of a Spyderco Grail for me. So, thanks for watching. That's 1 2 cents. Keep the change. Sláinte.